I had a dream, I would say last night, but I woke up today at about 5 or right before 5 p.m. So it was probably in the afternoon when I had the dream. It was a political dream about how families feel about Trump, and we were with another family, and they had this really annoying kid that messed up the dinner. They put meatballs in fried noodles. They put, for some reason, there were spaghetti meatballs. They put them in fried noodles, and then he put and then when I went to get the noodles, I cleaned it out a little bit, trying to make it better, and there was a potato in my noodles, and I was mad at the kid, and I went back and looked, and there was garbage in the noodles, and then I went and yelled at the kid's mom and the kid, and they were making me feel guilty for being mad at a kid. That could be like a religious, not like a physical world dangerous kind of spiritual thing or physical thing, but a religious spiritual thing, in which when someone does something wrong, they make you feel like it's Trump's fault. They're blaming you for being wrong because you like Trump, and that's supposed to accuse you of a sin and make you a worse person and doing worse things to hurt people. Think of the spiritual ramifications of people who believe in Trump and being like a heroic, angelic figure or like a demon figure. If it was like Trump is the Antichrist, it might not ever be a war or anything like that. It might just because Trump makes you think people are mad at you for liking Trump when you really do things that are wrong and you don't realize that you did something that was wrong. There was an ancient Hebrew word, halakha. What if I make halakha a new cuss word? Halakha can be my swear word. It means something legally wrong or something legally right. Legitimately, the meaning of the word is something legally wrong or something legally right. But as a curse word, it means fuck morality. It's about legality. It's not about morality. It's about legality. And that is a halakha. Could be like a swear word that people say. I think that was, or that's my interpretation of the ancient Hebrew word. It's about legality. It's not about morality. Halakha, and Donald Trump could be like the cause of the halakha. If I made a halakha movie, if halakha was a screenplay about Donald Trump, halakha would be a screenplay about Donald Trump. That means it's about legality. It's not about morality. And they try to change the laws to make bad things okay. I did 1 hour every time I prayed. I would always wait 1 hour to become completely transformed and get superpowers. It's 7 years, 3 hours a day, every day. And on the 7th year, something cool will happen. Like you hang out with people online all the time in a show, and you have to be like an actor and a character. And it's like you got a job because you're part of a show, even though no one watches it. And it's a social media show podcast. And you stop praying after 7 years every hour, but you can still listen to the worship music when you go to sleep. When you go to sleep, you still listen to your worship music, and you try to pray to feel comfortable until you can go to sleep, and then you go to sleep. Because the prayer is a drug kind of feeling. And I talked about it in New Devils, and that's how you know what it is. It's a whole hour all the time. So you're going to be praying through your process to get the check that you want to get if you want to be transformed. And what this is like a nirvana, like a serious pleasurable feeling inside of your body, but your mind has to be working in perfect attunement with the furthest reaching God, which is an energy force from the signatures, holy in terms of set apart, and where you don't have to deal with things unless they're interested in you, because people can really bring you down. Worthy of anyone, the highest worthiness of all is more greater as a platonic form than an actual being to be worthy of, and righteous in terms of an evolutionary righteousness. Evolutionary righteousness could be the force, the name of the force, And immediately below that, it's worthiness as the secondary property. And immediately before that, it's holiness, as in terms of set apart from anything that does not want it, because it does not inherently need to involve itself with you. In terms of best friends, okay, the Leslie character is still my best friend. The other characters need to be named Jeremy and John. Jeremy and John. Early on, they were Jermaine and Jamar. Never had a character. Well, in the romance he's only in one story. The second twin, they are twins, but the second brother was a year ahead in high school, so I didn't know him until I was in 10th grade. And I knew the other brother when I was in 7th grade. And they were both my best friends as adults. I know. And they're twin brothers. And, okay, Leslie is my best friend, but Jeremy and John were the ones that took care of me. And I am a difficult person to deal with them, but I'm currently having a hard time responding to Leslie because I'm afraid of, I'm just having my own time and I don't know how to deal with things, and it might be a hard conversation. Jeremy was my best friend. He started out with more of an emotional problem, but ended up with the most richest life because he went to college. He was my best friend because he got held back a year and we were in the same grade. I wrote about it in the teen drama, Matt Knob teen drama. John is more people pleaser, and he had a harder life. He didn't go to college, and he's currently a caretaker, a home caretaker for his uncle. I don't even know. He's really poor. I know. And he doesn't want to be involved in my filmmaking process because that would be too much for him. I told it like, yeah, I thought you wouldn't be interested because it would be too hard. He says, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. The friend that was a year ahead, that, okay, he's kind of based on Marty. Marty Wood is more like the Hollywood black guy, like the proper Hollywood black guy version of my friend, because he really talks more like an emotional kind of like how you feel way instead of a proper way. He talks in an emotional kind of how you feel way, and he has a really modest accent. It's like humble plus an additional humiliation to be the lesser character in your story kind of voice. And I was going to give him the job to make white people comfortable with black people and make black people be bright around the white people. He's supposed to be in charge of how the white people and the black people interact in my company. Modest is like take the blunt lower feeling from you and put it on me, and then I'll be the modest. And they called him modest because they're like my dis, like my disrespect. I take the blunt from you and I put it on to me. My disrespect. It's the most smartest person in the world to be in charge of the white and black culture negotiations, because he will understand from a healing prospect, because their family is supposed to have ancient Native American influences in their family. They're supposed to have ancient Native American influences in their family. And he was, Modest was a complete nerd to black people. Black people thought he was a nerd because, okay, the older sister had a lot of black philosopher group, like, they were like black philosophers, people that, they put the black philosophers in charge of their group. Like, the smartest people were in charge of their group, but it was like a black weed culture philosophers, and they made fun of Marty for being a nerd, or they picked on him for being nerdy. And I hung out with them one time. I would love to put it in a movie. I want to make The Lock one day, which is supposed to be about the white people inside of a small urban environment get to be the same as black people. The white people that grew up inside of it, if you went to their school, if you wanted to be involved, that they will guard you and protect you as inside of the lock or the castle. the castle inside of the lock.